Goodbye, hello.
Goodbye and hello.
We are the Schultz Brothers.
We are the Schultz
We
Brothers.
are back for another podcast edition here of the Schultz Brothers. Who are we? Who are we? Would you like to start that, brother?
We are an infinite void.
That's kind of funny.
We are
Take it.
we are not in the places we want to be.
Amen to that.
So but we're on our way, but some days, people sometimes will try to shrug it off, the feelings that they have about, I'm not saying everyone, but some people will shrug off feelings of kind of listlessness, rudderlessness.
Yeah, listlessness.
I guess not really like your doldrums of life.
Definitely doldrums.
And,
We've been having lots of those. Together we are the Brothers Schultz, and together we are fighting bipolar. Fighting it is a very interesting term. Would you agree with that term, fighting it?
I guess so. I can hear it much better now.
Because it is a condition. It's not a disease. You don't fight it like a disease. So that's why I'm asking you, would you say fighting is the correct term for this?
I
as
guess
far
it's,
as who we are and what
we
are?
I think the main thing is that when you haven't reached your full potential yet, when you have untapped resources that have yet to be exposed.
Oh, yeah.
It's really hard to see when that's going to happen, especially if...
And we're both struggling with that.
Yeah.
We're both struggling with that. Because who we are two very bohemian, very talented artists, for lack of a better word.
I guess so.
I mean, you do your thing with the DJing, you do your thing with the sound, you do your
I've
thing
made
with
$20 over the past 7 years.
You've made $20 over the past 7 years doing DJing, but you also teach music.
Yeah.
You're also proficient in how many instruments?
Piano, bass, violin. Not bass, violin.
You're proficient in these things, though, so you can do the thing.
I can play them.
You can play them. So my whole point with that is that we have the talents to be great. Great, I say, because I'm a writer, I'm a singer, and I also am a percussionist. So exact same thing. We have talents that are currently... Well, you go ahead.
Well, I don't think that you can force those talents that they're just found. You just find it. And honestly, sometimes you think whether you're good enough or not. But you know that you've got something. And you see people like making it, whatever that means, and like getting the careers, the jobs, the wives, the husbands.
And it wears on you, like both of us.
And then you see yourself and you're like,
when's that for
what did
me?
I miss? Was it a kindergarten class on like how to...
You start thinking about stuff like that.
On how to like communicate with the world, how to do something, like, or is it literally just that stage in life? Yeah.
You and I are very similar on that wavelength. Like, seriously, you wonder why? Because we're both struggling with bipolar. Now, to be completely clear, who we are and what our condition is bipolar 1.
That's not who
Correct?
we are.
No, but what we were about, so to say.
That's what we talk about.
That's what we talk about is bipolar.
And as you can see, if you have seen, or I don't know, life is so weird. Like, you could see this not live or on a YouTube forum, or you could just this could be private. It's private.
It could be private,
just for us. But
either way,
you see that the last video I was in, I was a little more uptick. A little more upbeat. I'm still positive.
Well, now
I still got a positive outlook. Well, it's just it's just a heavy weight.
It is
life sometimes.
Well, also an interesting analogy that I'd like to add to that is life not only can be a heavy weight when you have bipolar 1, but just to differentiate from bipolar 2, what I've heard it described like is bipolar 1, you become your passions. You become the things that drive you, that quote-unquote trigger you, although I hate that term. You become the things that really get you running, that really get your motor running, and then you burn like a candle on those things, and it's hard to stop.
It's just it's frustrating the way I mean there's, come on, all 7 billion of us, we're living the same. No, I'm saying that we all live the same way.
Yeah,
every day unfolds as it does, moment by moment, in front of you. It doesn't unfold any faster or slower for anyone. So, I mean, you may not be aware of it at a certain age, you may never be aware of it.
Mm.
But I feel like I'm pretty aware of it.
Me too.
More so than 10 years ago.
Me too.
But still, I know I got a lot.
You gotta remember who we are to completely different in age as well. You are for almost.
Oh, by the way,
5
it's
years.
the Bob Ross t-shirt.
Yeah, so there's always room for Bob Ross and headphones in your life.
DJs.
We got now. You should be wearing this. I should be wearing that because someday I'd actually like to paint. But anyway, getting back to what we are about and why we're here, which is the next subject, because now we're on the next 5-minute block. We're doing this in 5-minute blocks, people.
That's fine.
5 minutes per subject, 5 minutes to sort of hash it out, which is not a lot of time, unfortunately, to cover all the bases. So here we go. Why are we here? Why are we doing this? You go ahead and field that.
To show that there's as much as I don't feel like this right now, is to show that there's an upside to the conditions that you're in.
Yeah.
There's positivity. You know, we're obviously not living in the Taj Mahal.
No,
but
I live out of this shed.
But ultimately, the thing is that life is a mentality. Sometimes you just literally got to be positive just because you can. It's a choice. You can choose to be negative, and you can choose to be positive.
And to be perfectly honest with myself, I have been choosing to be negative because, as we've already touched on the first subject, we are grinding, we are waiting, we are pushing, and nothing to show for it.
The problem I have with having a negative output when grinding is that a negative output, you're grinding to the grave. While
just
a positive a positive outlook, you're grinding to a throne.
So why we're on the subject of...
That's the mentality, at least.
So getting back to the subject of why we are here to show that bipolar is a condition. It is not a label. It is not something unbeatable. It is something that you right there, if you're watching this, you right here, if you have bipolar of one of the two kinds, because we haven't yet covered bipolar 2, but if you have one of the two types of bipolar, you too, right there we go, that's better, can live with it. Period. You can live.
It's totally livable.
Totally livable.
But you want to live the best life.
You want to live the best life.
You want to live the best life.
So why we are here is to talk about our journey through this process, because you have been on this journey and this process for how many years now?
Well, I remember, I can't count the first 17 years because they were kind of like a wash. I wasn't really engaged.
Hormones, etc.
Whatever. But from 18, 19 till now.
Till now.
I'm not gonna say
and
my
you're
age,
currently
but
26. Too late. And I'm 30. I don't mind. I don't mind aging myself. That's the thing, is that you're still in your 20s, brother. You haven't yet gotten to the point where to hell with it. To hell with how old you are and all that stuff. I didn't even be to hell
with it at 5 years old. Some people are.
Oh, there you go. But the point is that we, as far as ages are concerned, are completely separated because, again, you're almost 5 years younger than me, and you're at a stage that you've developed ways to not develop. You're here.
I keep hearing this, and I think it's a lie.
You think it's a lie?
No, not that, but something different. I keep hearing something I'm about to say, which is that I'm 40 years old, and I look back at you at 25, and I wish I was you. And I totally disagree with that. Or 26 or something like that.
I've gotten that a little bit too, believe it or not.
Yeah.
I've gotten that a little bit too, because I've had people say things along those same lines that are like, you remind me of me when I was that age, stuff like that. And we are currently sitting at 10 minutes, so that's why we're here.
If the first 26 years are like the next 26 years, or the next 25 years, to 50.
But you can't believe that, folks. You can't believe that, kids. But it's going to be the same, because it's not going to be the same.
I wasn't going to say it's going to be the same. It's going to change, but
yes.
As to the long, some people have the problem of their days are too short, or they don't, because they're totally not engaged in their lives.
And they're so caught up in their own schmegma that they miss the life in front of them. Which is one
but the
thing
point
that I'm very guilty
is
of,
that
and why I'm here.
We are here.
We are here
Because we're trying to make people's lives better.
Exactly.
through the condition.
Exactly. And our own as well in the process. So now we are on to where are we going. So that's why we're doing this podcast, like we just said, to just segue into this subject. Where we're going with this is that we want to basically send a positive message out into the ether that says we are going somewhere and you can too. Is that a fair enough statement?
Yeah, I think a lot of people, like, you see, like, on forums and stuff like that,
Right.
you see success.
Right.
But what you don't see is that there's
You don't
people
see
that
the process that got
haven't
them
made it
there.
yet.
So that's us. We are not yet successful adults.
No.
We're going to be
not.
If we're completely
Completely
honest with
honest, we're
ourselves,
not.
we're not. I'm completely unemployed. You're half employed doing your thing.
Unemployed.
You want to do your gig? Like, what do you want to say about what your gig is?
No.
Okay, you don't want to say what
Not
your gig
here.
is. But the point of the matter is that you at least have a gig. You
Yeah.
at least have a job. I don't even have that. I have no insurance. Well, the point of the matter is that I've got nothing compared to
The
you.
problem I have with some of this stuff, these things that we quote unquote need, they don't need that in other parts of the world.
Oh no, absolutely not. So
we're
going with this,
but we do need it in America. That's where
yeah. Now that's another thing. Where we're going with this is that we quote unquote. I'm gonna give the quotes, air quotes. We need this stuff, but where we're going is not necessarily to get these quote unquote American needs. What we're going for is just to have our needs met. Period. Because again, in both of our cases, that's not happening.
I mean, some needs are so necessary, that they are
Food,
legit
shelter, clothing,
Well,
all that schmear.
I mean, you can go to extremes on any of those accounts.
Yeah.
But besides,
extremes,
I
kids,
mean,
by the way, always in the
honestly,
middle
if you think about it, if you can drum up $1 a day,
Trump $1 a day.
you can buy some beans and rice.
Yeah.
You can buy iceberg lettuce, and
Yeah.
you can manage.
And that's what we're just trying to do. Is
But
at this point,
there is a certain level of opulence, even in my life.
Yeah. I mean,
We expect so much, and sometimes, like, you got to look at people in different parts of the world. That it's just sometimes it doesn't happen, but there's still
they're still happy.
good things to be found.
Right.
Because you realize you're
So
part of a cog
Right.
of a machine.
But I'm going
that
to try
is
something.
global.
Wait a minute. I'd like to share something here because I had a wonderful drop of wisdom put on me. Don't be the wheel, be the axle. Be that which the wheel revolves around.
Honestly, not everyone's going to be, I'm just going to throw him out there, Justin Bieber.
Oh,
I mean, not everybody wants to be Justin Bieber, but you know what I mean? With the fame, the money,
no one wants to be Kendrick Lamar either.
But let's just say someone else. Someone, I guess, a little less.
Okay, the Dalai Lama.
With infamousy or no famousy.
Okay, famousy.
Not even the Dalai Lama. No, I'm thinking someone like, I don't know, Brad Pitt.
Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
Somebody famous like
someone
that.
that people look up to
Somebody
and
that
want to
people
be.
look up to. Or an
I
athlete.
bet.
Or an athlete.
I
that people
bet.
look up
Because
to.
this is true with every single person. That there are days that Brad Pitt wakes up and wishes he was someone like me or you or some regular
because
person.
The opulence comes. Now, what I would like
I don't know
add,
if that's true.
What
I
I
don't
would
know if
like
he
to
even
add
thinks
to all
about
this,
that.
what I would like to add to all of what you're saying is where we're going with this, and for me personally, is that I'm striving. I'm trying to strive rightly along a path.
But you got to
which I
strive
like
for
to
the
call-
right thing. Sometimes we strive for what Brad Pitt's got.
Yes.
Only
but that's
Brad
not
Pitt
striving-
can have
that's not
what
striving
Brad Pitt
rightly,
got.
kids. That's not striving rightly. When you strive rightly, you're not striving towards necessarily these wants and needs. What you're doing is that you're striving against your own inner turmoil, your own inner...
There's
I
a
need,
direction
I want to
that you
go.
want to go, and you go in that direction.
So where we're going is a direction.
But there's also a bit, I've read this somewhere, I actually saw someone talking about this, that you got to kind of see where you want to go and then where the world wants to go
Oh, yeah.
a little bit. You can't, it can't all be like, I want to be like the toenail expertise of like my city.
Right.
Because that's not really a need.
But where
the
we're
world
going,
needs.
is that we want to be, as we've already surmised, we want to be not necessarily successful, because what's successful? We just want to be able to strive rightly and make our own ends meet.
I want to be happy.
We want to be happy.
I just want to be happy.
Just make
That's
the ends
clear and
meet.
simple.
That's
That's
all
really
we're
all
going
it is.
for. That's what we're going for right here, right now. me living out of a shed, you still living with
You
the
can
parents.
still be happy.
You can still be happy even with all that.
Even in this.
Because every day that we look out here is a gorgeous day in a gorgeous setting. Where we are is beautiful.
Yes, it is.
It's beautiful.
There's a lot of graces.
There's a lot of graces here. We get to see that here every day. So we're at the 15-minute mark.
Yep.
Do you want to go ahead and wrap it up now with something?
So I just want to wrap it up by saying that just because you're in a position that is not necessarily a kingly position doesn't mean that you can't enjoy your life. You can totally enjoy your life. It's 90% of your life, or at least of my life, 100% of it has been lived in the valley with a few mountaintop experiences. But they were not like real mountains.
I've had, and what I would like to add and finish up with is that I have had my share of mountaintop experiences as well. And the valley that I'm finding myself in currently, again, unemployed, living in a shed here, is probably the lowest valley that I've ever experienced. However, I know that this valley won't last forever, and we know this valley won't last forever.
Maybe this will be it.
You should know that the valley will not last forever.
Because the number one thing is you never know. There is no timestamp on.
There's no timestamp
when the valley is going to go or when it's going to go up.
No, there's no timestamp on mountains. There's no timestamp on life in general, because life happens. And may the force be with you on that.
Stick with it. Stick with it.
Because we're nerds. No. All right, so let's finish this with
hello and goodbye.
Hello and goodbye.
Hello and goodbye.
Hello and goodbye.
I'm Casey.
I'm John.
See you later.